Hi, welcome to valuationpodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things related to business and valuation. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I'm a divorce valuation and mediation expert in St. Louis, Missouri. I have the pleasure of discussing today a fabulous book called the Forensic Accounting Deskbook with my guest, Miles Mason, a divorce lawyer in Memphis, Tennessee. So he's actually written this book, the Forensic Accounting Deskbook, and it's a practical guide to financial investigation and analysis for family lawyers. But I also think it's a really important resource for business valuation experts. Welcome, Miles. And that kind of gets us to some of the financial schemes. And so talk to us a little bit about some of the things that you see. So we see some red flags and then we're like, because I think you have to work backwards, right? You know that something is wrong. And so how do you figure out how it could have been right? Well, you have to first figure out how they could have perpetrated the scheme, right?
Right. And the interesting thing that when I represent clients that are very savvy, shall we say, with financials, it's fascinating because never underestimate the savvy of a long-term business owner because they've got buddies at the country club that's been through it. So let's cover some of the real simple ways and straightforward ways, and then we'll get a little bit more exotic. So you want to reduce your assets. You want to overstate your liabilities. You want to understate your income, and you want to overstate your expenses. Well, guess what document you want because you're already doing that for that document? Tax return. Okay. So in terms of manipulation of finances, I then look towards who's going to know about it. All right. Almost all business owners, especially if they're high flyers, are going to have a financial person somewhere, either in their office or in the accounting, the CPA's office, assisting them. And I want to put that person under oath. Now, in terms of financial lies, trusts are great because trusts pay their own taxes. Okay. Offshore is always very interesting because, my favorite is there's two problems with offshore. One, if you're going offshore to Antigua, quite often, that's going to appear on some credit card statements, okay, because you got to get on a plane. Or one of my private investigators' favorites was drive to Miami, pay cash for a boat, and take $250,000 in cash with you. All right. But I don't know that many people who want to be in the Caribbean with $250,000 in cash in a duffel bag. Now, there are people who do it, and I've run into them. Okay. I know they've done it because, of course, they brag to their spouse about it before the divorce, which is a whole different topic. But proving it is next to impossible. But point being, I love, people ask me, okay, well, you know how to hide money. Well, yes, I do. The way I think that works for many businesses is play with the retained earnings account, play with your compensation for obvious reasons. Putting a boyfriend or girlfriend on a payroll ain't that complicated. Okay. And then you have to have a fight over the personnel files. I want the personnel file for everybody. What do you mean? Well, I'm going to cross-reference it against the payroll log going to the state for state SUDA and for FICA, okay, the federal documents. So when you ask for the document that they know they don't have or ain't going to give you, you get that leverage. And the question becomes, what kind of scale are we talking about? Are we talking about millions or are we talking about $100,000? And so early on, you may find this interesting. I'll ask my client, well, he's hiding money. Yes. How much are we talking about? Well, I have no idea. I said, is it over $25,000? I said, oh, no. I'm like, do you really want to go?
Right.
Do we really want to go and do a full forensic evaluation for less than $25,000? So lying on financials isn't complicated, especially when we got a whole cash business, and we could spend 6 hours talking about cash businesses, what to do with cash, what people mostly do with cash, and how cash business owners screw up and fail. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we could talk about how the best ways to do it for cash business owners. And that is, A, don't get married in the first place, and B, don't spend it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so hopefully that answered your questions. You can get, one of the things I like to tell people is we got to look for, if we take 3 to 5% off of assets, 3 to 5% added to liabilities that may not be legitimate, we add 5 to 10% of expenses and reduce our income by 20%, all of a sudden we could be talking about real money.
Right.
And just keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, I think that when you're considering it, looking in, it does matter how much you're looking at, because, and I try to identify that at the very beginning too, because I don't want to go down a wormhole, because you don't always find what you're looking for. But I also, when I'm working with the business owner and, they're like, well, how should I operate the business? Like not everybody asks that, but they'll be like, well, what should I do while I'm getting divorced? Like, should I keep cash? Should I not keep cash? I was like, whoa. You need to do exactly what you are already doing the best way you can and run your business, because anything you do to defer off of that path, we will know. I will know. The other attorney will know. The other expert, will know. And so realistically, you just need to continue to do what you're doing. Sometimes there may be a compensation or something like that, but for the most part, we're not coming in trying to tell them to do something different. I'm usually encouraging them to not do a single thing different, because, if you start stockpiling cash, or let's say you start depleting cash, a lot of times you'll see people go and get more debt. They'll sell things, they'll buy things, and they're like, well, it's within my business, so I can do whatever I want. That's not my personal property. Oh, you own the 100% of the business? Well, yeah, but it's not that business is its own entity, So I'm like, that's not really how it works. But, so I try to get them to do exactly what they've already been doing.